Welcome to The American Rancher. I'm Pam Minnick. On today's show, we join Purina Animal Nutrition down south in the ranch country of Alabama and Tennessee. Well, we will talk about how getting cattle off to a great start with good management and nutrition is essential to desired development. We'll visit with a number of cattlemen today, including Dr. Lee Dickerson, who will share some practical cattle management knowledge about this crucial transition stage and keys to getting through it successfully. We'll also visit some great ranches as we learn, and we're going to see some British white cattle on the show as well. It's all about building better cattle, and we're glad you joined us. So stay tuned, our Purina story right after these words.
Well, I think a rancher has to be a steward of the land. There's nobody else that can take care of land better than a rancher. When we switched over to the Purina products, it was a step in the right direction.
The difference we see in the cattle is the consistency of their nutrition.
The cattle hold their condition a lot better throughout the whole year.
It does make a difference that we can see, day in and day out.
Welcome back to The American Rancher. Year after year, the Purina brand continues to be known as a symbol of quality and leadership for producers in all phases of the beef industry. Today, we're discussing Great Starts cattle feeding with stockmen in Alabama and Tennessee who background cattle. Getting calves off to a great start represents one of the most challenging and critical phases in the life of any cattle. The operations we will visit on this show are certainly up for the challenge. In fact, it's their specialty. These background operations play a key role in the cattle industry. A large portion of our U.S. calf crop is in the hands of cow-calf owners with a relatively small number of cows. So obviously, they sell their calves in small lots that have to be combined with other owners' calves to make more marketable truckload lots. By pulling cattle together and creating more uniform groups, these operations help add value to the supply chain. West of Nashville, Sullivan Land and Cattle outside Dixon, Tennessee, is a backgrounder operation that puts together groups of calves from the Mid-South and readies them for the feeding stage. Mark and his dad, Deward Sullivan, head up a team with years of experience in this work.
We feel like in this part of the world, the stock calf business is a good one. It's a margin business. Sometimes it's a tight margin business, but we've got some things that are very plentiful. We've got a lot of grass. We've got a lot of water. When cattle come off our place, they're going to weigh anywhere from 650 to 850. Our end customers are all going to be feedlots, either in the Corn Belt or in the Plain States. We want to provide cattle that are ready for feed. Know something about a feed bunk. They know where water's about. We are not in the feeding business as such. You can look around you and see what we've got is a lot of grass, and we're going to turn that grass into pounds on these animals and get them ready for finishing.
What is the main objective of a backgrounding program? It's primarily getting the acquired cattle to overcome weaning and shipping stress. They are next immunized, and the cattle need to become bunk broke. This is a huge factor to cattle performance in the next phase. Well-managed programs keep cattle healthy and put on valuable gain in the weaning receiving phase.
All those people with smaller herds, they need someone to accumulate those cattle in load lots. We feel like our backgrounding services and our ability to put loads of cattle together with a health program and some consistency in the kind of animals we've got, we think that's worth something. We have been Purina customers for quite some time. We used the Impact Starter, we've used the Precon 5 on some cattle, and we've used some of the traditional preconditioning feed that they've had for quite some time. We've had good success with all of them. We get cattle probably 3 days a week. We want to get those cattle in and comfortable as quickly as possible. Usually they've been through a tough day or two. We want them to get their feet up underneath them, get settled. We're going to process them pretty quickly and get them in the pens where we need them as quickly as possible. And to get them up on feed is very important from the get-go.
Calves never get over a good start or a bad one. Lifetime performance has the potential to be affected by how successful we are at getting cattle on feed and keeping them healthy. Stress puts a lot of pressure on calves with separation from the dams, changes in environment, changes in diet. Many times, cattle change pen mates.
A lot of the cattle that are coming into our operation have had nothing but mama's milk and green grass and pond water. They don't know anything about feed. They don't know anything about drinking out of a water, and they haven't been weaned yet. We started about 30 some odd steer calves weaning in the mid fours, well, light fours, I guess, about 3 or 4 weeks ago. Started them on the AccuRation starter, and that's all they had for about 21 days. We had good success with them. We had the cattle gain 3.2 a day, put on about 64 pounds a head, which we thought was very good. We turned them out on pasture, immediately after the 21 days. We had to pull, I think we treated 5 calves out of 33. No issues with them other than a few cattle you got to pull from time to time.
The nutritional components of a successful weaning program contain certain strategies. Stockmen must get cattle eating. The faster that cattle get on feed, the better the chances are to keep them healthy. So palatability of the ration is critical. At the same time, to get gain performance, the ration should be balanced for protein, energy, especially trace minerals, and adequate roughage for optimal rumen stability and health. The Rockin' Y Farm and Ranch serves customers about Florence, Alabama, and across the northwest portion of the state. It is operated by Justin and Kelly Wilcoxon. Justin and family also raise and develop cattle on a couple locations about Florence and have learned just how significant nutrition can be to help calves get through stressful times.
Well, as they say, you don't get over a bad start. And if they don't start out right and they plummet, you've lost everything you're trying to make. And if you can get them with these programs to where they are making you money from day one, instead of falling back and trying to catch back up from weaning, you can't put a dollar figure on that.
Justin decided to buy some calves and grow them off and sell them in May, and decided to buy several calves and get them in around December 20th. AccuRation starter was probably the most flexible one for him. It offered him the ability to put it in a feeder and not worry about feeding it every day. It offered that full feed program where he didn't have to worry about hay or any kind of additions to it. And then on top of that, it gave him the gains that he was looking for. And this was before the weather hit us as bad as it did on December 20th.
It couldn't have been much worse. We started out on a day about like today, and which is low 50s. We worked them off the truck, and from there it plummeted. We went into about a week's worth of rain and cold and sleet, and we had mud ankle to knee deep on the cattle. Go check them in the morning, frost on their backs and them standing in the mud. It couldn't have been much worse.
Despite vaccinating at arrival, Justin faced weather conditions that would knock most calves off their feet. The situation was ripe for sickness and loss. Justin got a first-hand opportunity to see his Purina feeding program put to the test.
Yeah, we were all sweating it, quite honestly. In a situation where calves would probably go backward, they actually gained over 2.5, almost 2.7 pounds adjusted for a 28-day period, and did well. No treatments, no death loss, no anything. They just did great.
Wake up every morning and go down there and look at them and just, you expect the worst, but after a while, you're like, there's nothing to worry about. We're gonna make it, and it was the AccuRation starter. It's a complete feed, and the Avela 4 tub, it really gets them to, once they go in and take that tub, they really start to eat and do well, and they don't just stand there bawling for mama. They'll put their head in a feeder and go to work.
Well, it's been proven time and time again that once you get on a good starter program, that basis for that program and the basis for that diet and the basis for the way that calf is doing translate to the next stage. And you never get over that bad start.
Purina Animal Nutrition has program options for weaning calves to fit a variety of performance objectives and resources depending on the operation. The highest performance potential is achieved with Purina Complete feeds, such as new AccuRation Starter Complete, which is considered an improvement over Purina's current Impact Starter Complete and preconditioning receiving chow. These diets are designed to be fed as the sole ration for the first 21 to 28 days and contain all the protein, energy, micronutrients, and roughage in proper proportions to optimize cattle gain.
It is the research and the dedication that all the people that nobody sees puts into it, to knowing what it will do and that it will work. In the Florence area here, you can come to our store, the Rockin' Y, and we'll be happy to help you. And we have some real good reps that work with us down here. They'll be happy to come and see you. And we'll put together a feed program for you and see what works best for you. Be happy to.
The British White is a naturally polled British cattle breed. White with black or red points, used mainly for beef. It has a confirmed history dating back to the 17th century. The breed is hardy and thrifty. The White Park is very similar to the British White, being white with black or red points, but with white dark-tipped horns. Justin Wilcoxon and family have one of the larger British White herds in the country.
We really like them. They are a very docile breed. We have been raising them now for about 7, 8 years. It's a really enjoyable group to work with.
Getting calves off to a good start means getting them eating with as little stress and delay as possible. The new AccuRation Starter Complete and Precon 5 are a pair of the best tools that Purina provides stockmen to get their calves off to a great start, which usually adds up to a lifetime of healthy performance. We'll continue our story with Purina when we return. You're watching The American Rancher. Stay with us.
No storm is too powerful for new Purina Wind and Rain Storm Minerals, formulated with ultimate weather resistance. That means more minerals in the feeder and available to your cattle. Wind and Rain Storm Minerals provide more consistent intake and balanced mineral nutrition to optimize herd health and breedback rates. See the difference at your local Purina dealer or visit cattlenutrition.com. Wind and Rain Storm Minerals, another way Purina is building better cattle.
Welcome back to The American Rancher. We've learned today that nutrition and good mineral play a significant role in backgrounder operations with fewer pulls to the sick pen, which keeps death loss at a minimum. Here's Dr. Lee Dickerson to continue our story on great starts in Alabama and Tennessee.
Well, John did a really nice job of evaluating different programs for Justin. I mean, those cattle had everything in the world working against them. They were sale barn put together cattle. They weren't baby cattle. And they came in and just really got on the AccuRation starter extremely quickly, which is key to having a stressed calf from a sale barn or weaned animal not get sick. It's all about intake, and it's all about getting 3% of body weight as soon as we possibly can in order to not have to treat and lose cattle.
Key management ideas for successful dry lot weaning included getting the proper amount of square footage per head so that the cattle can be observed, and the proximity of feed and water is reasonable. It is also effective to put feeders and water on the perimeter of the pen. Newly weaned calves often circle the pen for the first day or so and will run into the feed as they move.
I'm a third-generation farmer on this tract of land, and the land's a lot of rolling hills. It's better suited, we think, for pasture and for cattle than it would be row crops. And what we try to do is buy a lot of the 3 to 4 weight cutting bulls, kind of by the front end, especially in the fall and in the spring of the year. And we run a vaccination program through them, and we try to double the weight and do a lot of that with the pasture, but we also hand feed and supplement with Purina feed every day. And we grow these cattle to the 750 to 8 weight yearlings, and depends on the market, we either retain the ownership at a feed yard or we sell the cattle straight out. These cattle were bought yesterday about 25 miles north of here at Cross Plains at a local stockyard. This particular set of cattle was the 450-pound graded black bulls, and then a few of the Charolais cross on them too. They're in the process right now of getting vaccinated, the first round of shots. I got lucky yesterday. A few of these were steers, but normally I stay in on the bulls year round. I get along pretty good with them, but about half of these were steers and about half bulls. Upon receiving of these cattle, the first 24 to 48 hours, I think, dictates the kind of luck you usually have with the next 30 days. The quicker we can get them started on either hay or food and get the rumen to working, the better the vaccination programs work and the less sick cattle we have. The Avela-4 tubs we started using pretty religiously probably a year and a half ago, and I could see it wasn't something you saw quick. It was over a period of time, but our selling weights 150 days down the road, our selling weights went up, and I could see that our sick lots was less and our pulls were less. And I think a lot of that is due to the Avela-4. We've actually had weeds grow up in our sick lot the last year.
I was there, I don't know, maybe 6 months ago. And I went in to check on him, make sure things were good. And he goes, get in the pickup. We're going to the sick pen. I thought, oh no, that is not what a nutritionist wants to hear. And so we get to the sick pen, he goes, what do you see? Well, the sick pen was all grown up with weeds. He goes, I'm not treating anything. And he said to me, my calves are going out heavier. And then I got to thinking a minute and I said, you know, if in fact it's doing what we said it'd do, that it'll cause them to go to the bunk quicker, it'll cause them to eat quicker, we get to 3% of body weight, those calves could be heavier. He said, Lee, my calves are going out 50 pounds heavier.
One of Purina's newest products is called Precon 5. Precon 5 is designed to be hand-fed at 5 pounds per head per day, along with an unlimited supply of forage that has to be at least 8% protein. It is considered to be the most palatable cattle feed that Purina has ever made.
We've done a test on the Precon 5, and we've used Precon in the past. They were good results. The cattle started on it quicker, and we had 8 pulls, I think, out of 98 head, but none of them went to the sick lot. They all went just to one treatment deal for a 4-day treatment and right back out in the pasture.
Well, if you ask any cattle producer what's the most important thing when they bring a group of cattle in, they're going to say, get those things eating. Most people, if you asked what product calves have liked eating the best over the years, they'll say preconditioned receiving chow. And up until just a couple of years ago, I'd said the same thing. But with this Precon 5, research shows that they prefer it 3-to-1 over even preconditioned receiving chow. And I guess I've had to prove it to myself that they did. Ed said that when these calves came in, they immediately went up to the bunk, started eating, so much to the fact that he thought maybe they already knew how to eat because they went to it so quickly. But they really do enjoy this Precon 5, just like they do with all of our starters. But get those calves eating, you're going to eliminate a lot of potential problems.
Having a Wind and Rain Avela-4 tub available in the starter pen may provide a highly palatable, concentrated source of vital nutrients. Stressed calves, especially timid calves, will lick on these tubs even when they won't come to the bunk or are consuming inadequate quantities of the starter ration.
I have seen enough calves with large backgrounders we're working with in the southeast now that are just, they're not going to leave them. They know what happens if they have the Avela-4 tubs in those pens. They know how fast those calves then go to feed.
Ed Anderson has a great heritage in the cattle business. The family has maintained thorough records on their cattle through the years and also owns interest in a feedlot in the Texas Panhandle. The scenic Tennessee ranch is something that he hopes to see continue as is for years to come.
It means something to me. I mean, I guess every family farm has some sentimental value, but I'd like to keep it just like it is myself.
I'm a senior at Joe Burns High School, just turned 18. After graduation, I plan to go to UT Martin in the fall and major in either ag business or animal science production and management, which was basically what this is, and hopefully just make the ranch and the farm even better in the future.
Doris Milling Company has served cattlemen with the best of Purina products for a number of years. The mill itself dates back to 1844. Houston Doris really enjoys serving people about Springfield, Tennessee.
I think anytime you can help a friend with something that he's trying to accomplish, you've done well. Well, it all relates back to a trip that we took Ed on to the research farm, and the Precon 5 was just being introduced, and the Avela-4 tubs were just being introduced, and that lit the light bulb in Ed. He wanted to know more about that because of his own situation. So through those products and through the program that we promote with those products, we feel like we have definitely helped Ed both in keeping cattle healthy and in putting more pounds across the scale when they leave this farm.
Backgrounders provide a much needed and valuable service to the beef industry. Backed by more than 80 years of research and field-proven data, Purina's AccuRation Starter Complete, Precon 5, and the Wind and Rain Avela-4 cooked molasses tub deliver the more feeding, less treating results in the weaning pen that cattlemen everywhere want and need. Purina has a nutrition program that will help you build better cattle. Thanks to Purina Animal Nutrition and all the good folks in Alabama and Tennessee who made this program on Great Starts possible. The Southeast is great cattle country. And weren't those British whites a good set of cattle? Thanks to all of you for joining us as well. We invite you to visit our website, theamericanrancher.com, or check us out on Facebook for weekly updates. We'd love to hear from you. I'm Pam Minnick. For our entire American Rancher team, thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time.